What is up, guys? NYKia31 here. Madden 21, part 2 of my coverage series for this year. Part 1, I'll put the link to part 1 in the pinned comment below in case you missed it. You also find it on my channel as well. It's on the preview section. But anyway, part 1 covered quarters and palms basics versus 2x2 sets. This part will touch on trips. I'll try to get to both regular trip sets, reduced split trip sets, and bunch in one video. If not, I'll have to separate those two. I like to be thorough, guys. I don't like to miss things. I want you guys to have the information that you need so you understand it and you don't get caught by surprise. I want to keep surprises that you'll find online when you take it to online by yourselves to be kept to a minimum. So if I have to do an extra part on quarters, so be it. But anyway, I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about something that I did left out against 2x2. Remember how I said that in previous years, like last year, if I wanted to defend the if I was getting flooded by multiple short routes, especially in those third and fourth, 5, 6 areas where guys like to run multiple quick slants against me, because I only have like one true hook zone defender, that I would create 4 locks. Since it's not in the game, I would do that by manually pressing. Come on, oops, wrong controller. Both corners. And press them. Well, what I found out is that if you press them, they do that on their own. But here's the thing. I'm not sure if it was done on purpose or they actually put that in the game by mistake. Or if it's a bug. Because you see, I pressed them and they do it by themselves. So I was curious to see, is that something that's consistent? So I tried that with cover 3 Buzz Match. We'll call Buzz Match. And you have all kinds of stuff going on. And you see one slant being matched, as well as the seam flats matching slant routes as well. And if you press them, they'll both match it. So this is just a cluster all the way around. So that's a bug. But what's weird is that with a bug, they almost got something right by accident. Isn't that typical EA Sports? So that was not done on purpose. So what I would suggest, if A-Dub and Clint are tuning in, when you're fixing that, leave that check in quarters, but fix that portion in cover 3 match. And you're good. You're good. You got it half right by mistake. So anyway, let's go and start trips. Alright, so let's talk about quarters versus trips. There's a couple of trips checks that teams can play in the real with, game plan specific tweaks that they employ. Generally speaking, the one that's in Madden is solo. So what's solo? Solo simply means is that versus trips, the solo side receiver is locked man-to-man. So it does not matter what that receiver does, whether he runs deep, just on a straight fade, deep out, deep comeback, deep post, whatever. If he runs under, quick out. What? Come on, reset. Damn it, wrong controller. Quick out, quick slant. No matter what, quarter flat has number 2 to the weak side man-to-man. In this case, that's the back. So if the back, either wheels out, goes a quick out, wheels, Doesn't matter. Just whatever he does, he will be played man-to-man by the quarter flat. The 3-rec. Well, let's start from outside in. Corner. He plays man on deep on number 1, meaning it's man coverage on anything vertical. He will release under. A quarter flat. His job is to redirect number 2, carry him to the safety, the strong side safety, who will match him vertical. And then he'll play the flat area. The 3-rec opens up to the strong side, and he walls number 3 and delivers him to the weak side safety, and then looks to close down on any backside crossers. So, in motion, pretty darn straightforward. So if we put the receiver Perryman under, we should see the corner follow, which he does, and they transition much better than they did the previous year. I used to have to man them up manually in order to get him to get on his horse. So on the under, and I wouldn't. This is not something I would run in a real game. It's just for demonstration purposes. But you see the drag here is being matched, and they've gotten rid of that delay that would cause insane separation. I used to have to man them up in order to get them to transition right away. And again, this is cushion, so there's going to be space there. We know that. Plus, I have poor man coverage guys. Back on the delay route, the quarter flat takes him. The 3-rec opens up to number 3, and he delivers him to the safety, who has his back turned. Horrible technique there. You would never do this. Come on, guys. Let's get technique and transitions right, please. But he gets carried there. That transition, that wasted motion, causes the separation. Got to clean that kind of stuff up, and everything else is as it should be. But you see a vulnerability because of the fact that the corner will carry the under. The 3-rec is conflicted. And that opens up the short middle there, because again, the 3-rec has to deliver number 3 to the weak side safety. But there's also another issue here, that quarter flat does not get his hands on number 2 on his release, which causes that problem to occur. He just skates right on out there, and you have this massive hole. You can just zip that bad boy in there. That's the whole point of having the cushion. Or the collision, rather, not the cushion. If he goes under, I mean, he skates out there, but he's not that aggressive in getting to the flat. If you're not going to redirect the receiver and not get out to the flat, what good are you? If you man him up, you can, with your pre-snap controls, that'll solve that problem, but that's an issue that needs to be corrected. Now, another issue is that this weak side safety, he is free to do a lot of things if there's no vertical. Depending on how a team wants to game plan it, he can bracket number 1. He can rotate to the middle of the field and basically play as a single high defender. He can be a robber. A lot of things he can do if there's no number 3 vertical. But historically, he's been kind of passive in this game. So I'm going to put Herndon on a square in. And you see he's just kind of squatting there. The 3-rec carries him at least. But the game defaults him to having him just squat in the middle of the field. See the 3-rec is on him, and he's just kind of chilling. That's not good. He's got to do something. And you'll see how that can be a problem in other route combinations. I'm going to put together a bootleg dagger concept here. You know, that's going to conflict the 3-rec, as we know. The strong side safety is doing a pretty good job. He's not getting borked out by anything. If we run, let's run double post here. If number 3 goes vertical, that's fine as far as the safety goes. But I just don't like when there's no vertical, he just becomes a spectator. Alright, let's try to jerry-rig something. See why that's a problem? Because then you have stuff like that. So we have two sins here. We have the fact that the safety on the weak side is being passive, and the trip side corner is not playing man on deep. He's just drifting around and doesn't follow. So now you have the old spot drop cover 3/ quarters beater, where you know, run this guy off and do this, and because he's popping a squat, it gets bombed. That's a problem. He's got to be playing man on deep on trips, and this guy cannot be a spectator. The weak side safety cannot be a spectator if there's no vertical, or that will be an issue. That was a little scary as well. Again, skating out. He's running a post. And for whatever reason, he looks like he's about to leave him to bracket the streak. And that carries him to here. And since you can't really trust that safety to not have a wacky transition or just, you know, pop a squat there, that can be an issue. See, that's an issue. That's a big problem. Because let's say that you're using that weak side defender, and you're like, hey, I'm going to give number 1 some help. You're relying on that number 2 receiver to be carried by the safety, and if he's just going to drop off of him arbitrarily like that, that's a problem. That time he stayed with them pretty well. I mean, he's staying with them, but it's not right. It's an issue with the fact that they've chosen to make that guy a static middle third defender who's prone to those old school one-play touchdown beaters. Let's see how they handle switch release. All right, that time they stayed home. That looks pretty good. So it's again, it's this issue where it's inconsistent depending on, you know, the play or the route combo. Since they've implemented this, Palms has always been more correct versus trips. You know, this time he stays home. Let's try this. Depends on how aggressive they're going to break on the ball. Let's try to hit that one next. That's got to be fixed. Got to be fixed. Okay, he broke in the ball well. Now let's talk about palms. Alright, special. Difference between special and solo is that special will man lock the number one receiver on the trip side. Number one receiver on the solo side is man on deep. This game handles that solo side a little bit different. I'll get into in a second. But it's man-to-man coverage, no matter what number one does on the trip side. So whether, again, same thing as in solo, I'm running this post concept here with the slot out and the in cut by the tight end. So, but even if Hogan ran a drag, it'd still be man-to-man. So why would teams do this? You're trying to get numbers in your favor. By covering number one man-to-man, you're creating a triangle with these three defenders, slot corner, the strong side safety, and the 3-rec on those two receivers here on the trip side. And plus you have the weak side safety as well. So what you have here is that you're going to have the quarter flat playing and the safety playing two read between number 2 and number 3. The nickel, in this case, Brian Poole, he's matching 2 to 3. The safety, he's matching 3 to 2. So if number 2 goes vertical, he's Poole's. If number 3 goes vertical, he's a safety. So let's play this out here, just as default. I'm going to run this default here. Straight man-to-man. He's matching 2 to 3. If number 2 goes under, he'll release him. He has him outside. I don't like this transition here while he's, skating inside. That's not necessary. 3-rec's job does not change. He opens up strong side. He's got first crosser. This is not quite a vertical route, so he'll take him. Quarter flat has 2 weak. Corner is man on deep, or he should be man on deep. Weak side safety, nothing changes for him. He tends to play a bit more aggressive toward the middle of the field in palms versus quarters. strong side safety, he'd match vertical. If number 3 is not vertical, he'll sink here. All right, let's smart route this route to get it a little bit deeper. And now you see the safety, the strong side safety match it, and you see the damn slow side safety still drifting around. That's just bad technique here, but nothing changes for him. I made that route a little bit longer with a smart route. Now it's a vertical route. Man coverage. We put Crowder under. Quarter flat stays home. Number 3, the 3 rec is a little bit late to see him. Or late to recognize him crossing. See, he's under, releases the under. He's a little slow. Now, one thing to point out is that the game has both the corners on the outside playing man lock. Let's run that again. You know, you see that puts a lot of stress there on the 3 rec. This should be man on deeps. He should release this under and look for work coming at him. That's putting a lot of stress here on the 3 rec with all that space. See the difference in the quarter flat on 4 verts? We saw in quarters, he just skated out. Palms, he plays it right. He doesn't collision him, but he runs with all of number 2. And again, they're playing 2 read here. So when their men go vertical, they take them. And here you get a nice bracket, actually. He has 2 weak, same as in quarters. Huh. He went really far under. He goes back. Because the 3 rec will come down and get him. That's interesting. You know, he's supposed to match outside and release in. Let's go slot 2 buck. That's well done. Again, it's a 2 read concept. He's reading number 2. Number 2 goes vertical. He takes a man. He's reading number 3. Number 3 goes under. He turns and looks to bracket number 2. That is perfect. Only guy I hate in all this is you. I don't like you at all. Let's do switch release. Well done. Vertical, man coverage. Outside release by number 2. He takes it. Good job there. And again, we got to get past this flat-footed spot drop drift stuff. Got to get past it. Alright, reduced split trip sets, like trips tight end, where the tight end is the Solos receiver and he's in line, or a trips tight end flex set where he's split out on a reduced split on the solo side. Quarters handles it exactly the same. The solo side receiver is man locked. Palms is different. Special changes to a check called cut. The way cut works is if the tight end or the number 1 receiver on that reduced split side runs under, the safety on that side will cut his route and the corner is supposed to replace him. Everything else plays out the same on the trip side. So I'm going to show you a potential problem that can be caused by that, where if we call play action shot wheel. Play action shot wheel, the switch release on this type of route combo is a little bit weird. See, number 1 is man-to-man, as we know. So he's being taken by the corner. Now, number 2 looks like he's releasing under, but he's still going vertical. So what does a quarter flat do? Well, he finds the new number 2 coming to him. Number 3 wheeling out, and he takes him. So number 2 here gets picked up late by this safety across the field. The strong safety, for whatever reason, wants to climb all the way out and bracket number 1 here on the streak. Now, in this case, it works out fine, but I'll show you why it's a problem, the way that works. That's not correct. The safety should be relating to number 2 still. Or the most immediate number 2, I should say. Let me show you how cut works with 4 verts. First, we're going to put the tight end here on a drag. You see the safety comes down and cuts the drag route. Now, why do they do this? Again, vertical 2 read concept here, so he's running vertical as well. Remember, they're going to follow their rules. Wall off number 3 to carry to the safety. So that means someone has to account here for whatever's coming under, and that's the safety here, even though it's a very late transition. And the corner here goes way too wide. He's way too wide. He needs to be getting deeper. I don't love cut being in the game, and I'll show you why it creates a problem. If I drag Herndon here, safety cuts, and because The strong side safety is not playing his responsibility correctly. He climbs over to bracket on the wheel route that gets left wide open. Undercut, and here's the 3-rec here. And he's kind of lost. Like once the tight end crosses him, he then looks back to the middle. And it looks like he's trying to chase him, but it's way, way, way too late, obviously. He's supposed to catch him here, you see? Because he goes here, he's left. Not ideal. So we've seen some issues with the Switch releases. We've seen issues with in solo you have spot drop, which causes some issues as far as the weak side safety is concerned. So there's still, stuff to clean up, which we expected. And during the 30-day update period, they did mention that they're going to be putting out coverage updates within that 30-day update. So we'll see how much gets cleaned up. I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to have to save Bunch, Split Close, and Shotgun Tight for part 3, and that'll conclude quarters. And then we'll move on to cover 6, cover 9, and after that, cover 3, and cover 2. Thanks for tuning in as always, guys. Hope you enjoy, and I will talk to you all later. Peace.